Thank you, Mr Speaker. And it's a pleasure to follow the honourable member for North East Somerset. I agreed pretty much with the first 4 minutes of speech and the final 2 minutes of speech, which in all honesty is 6 minutes more than usual that I agreed with. Can I just put in record, it's a real honour. I'm really proud to be re-elected to serve the constituents of Kilmarnock Loudoun, and I pledge to work as hard as I can for the next 6 months or 5 years, whatever length of term this is going to be. I'm also pleased to be elected to what's the most diverse parliament yet. I think that's good. It was said earlier on we've more work to do, but at least it's progress in the right direction. But, Mr Speaker, I also have to observe that for the most part today, it's been the same old faces, or the lack of faces, that's filling the benches. So if we're going to appear to be a more diverse parliament, hopefully we'll see more people filling the benches and taking part going forward. Now, maybe the lack of participation or lack of occupancy in the benches today is reflective of the lack of content or quality in the Queen's speech. Hopefully it's not because they knew I was on the list of speakers. But I would say some of the contributions tonight have been really good. Contributions in terms of talking about terrorism, the victims, the language of division, the Greenfell disaster. These are all things I think most of us can agree on in the House and work on a cross-party consensual basis. So hopefully that's something that will be good in this parliamentary term. There has also been more vacuous contributions, and that's those that have talked about Brexit and how everything's going to be okay. The UK will get what it wants out of the negotiations. It will continue free trade deals to suit itself with the EU, and it will continue free trade around the world, picking deals at random. It just doesn't add up. And I've news for people: the days of the British Empire are over. We live in a different world, and it's time some people reflected that. Mr Speaker, this was supposed to be the Queen's speech that gave the Prime Minister carte blanche to do what she wanted. Instead, I've already said with a near-empty Queen's speech, which, given that the Tory manifesto was completely uncosted and ill thought through, it's maybe not a bad thing that we're not getting too much from the Tory manifesto. Such was her arrogance, she thought she could duck out of debates. She thought she could announce she can do what she wants, and that was attacking pensioners regards the triple lock, the dementia tax and the winter fuel allowance. So that, for me, was proof that she still leads the nasty party. And yet, as she said herself, she needed a big majority in order to strengthen her negotiation position with the EU. In fact, it's quite clear all she's done is strengthen the hand of her backbenchers and the DUP. And that actually brings us nicely to no deal being better than a bad deal. She's actually shown she can't even negotiate a deal with her friends and allies from the DUP. And worse, she didn't even realise that at first. The 10th of June we had an announcement: we've got a deal with the DUP. Then it's we don't have a deal with the DUP. The Queen's speech is put back 2 days to allow the deal to be formulated, and here we are, we still don't have a deal with the DUP. So how can we trust that Prime Minister to lead a minority government and to actually get a better deal, allegedly, with the other 27 member states of the EU? It frankly doesn't add up. Give way.
Thank my honourable friend for giving way. Does he agree that it's absolutely vital that the Conservative government doesn't just work across this House, but it works across the United Kingdom and starts to re-engage with devolved administrations, and particularly that the Joint Ministerial Committee is set up as a matter of urgency to take forward Brexit discussions?
Thank my honourable friend for that contribution. I wholeheartedly agree. It's imperative that all voices of the UK are heard, especially considering that Scotland, Northern Ireland, these countries voted to remain in the EU, so our different voice must be heard at the negotiating table. Mr Speaker, if I turn back to election, I also thought it was ironic that one pre-election tactic was for the Conservatives to turn attention to the views of the Liberal Democrat leader with regards his views on homosexuality. And yet, post-election, there they are, teaming up with the DUP, who is a confirmed anti-gay marriage party, who actually lobbied the Scottish Government to try and prevent people from Northern Ireland travelling to Scotland for a gay marriage. So again, the hypocrisy is rank. In terms of the Prime Minister's position, she's also now stuck with a team in her cabinet where before she was making it clear she wanted a reshuffle. So she's now stuck with a team she doesn't want. She's lost her majority. That's strong and stable for you. I would also say recent tensions are obviously clear. Consider the Chancellor and the Secretary of State for Brexit are now disagreeing about the need to win the customs union. So again, where does that leave the UK when it comes to negotiations? And apparently, Mr Speaker, the new Scottish Tory intake is so poor that a rejected candidate has now been fast-tracked through the Lords so it can work for the Scottish office. What does that say about the make-up of the new candidates? So, given their weak position, it's absolutely clear the Prime Minister does not have a mandate for a hard dog's breakfast statement. She does not have a mandate for a hard Brexit. She should review austerity and listen to proposals for SNP that free up £118 billion for investment. This would include extra investment for English NHS, which of course would allow Barnett consequences for Scotland. Now, given yesterday's leaked papers to The Guardian about the state of the NHS in London, I think it's time members across the benches actually listen to these suggestions. It's also imperative that the Prime Minister urgently reviews our energy policy. Now, in actual fact, the first welcome U-turn the Honourable Member for Maidenhead did as PM was the pause of Hinkley Point C. Unfortunately, that was then followed by another U-turn to carry on full steam ahead with the project. A project that's increased in cost, it's going way above market rate strike price, still unproven technology, and there's no guaranteed delivery date. But yet the UK Government will not recommit to £1 billion for carbon capture and storage. It's quite clear, even if Hinkley comes on stream, the energy demand and the technology available at that time will have changed vastly, and it really is a white elephant that they're investing in. Investment in renewables has dropped by 95%, and it's no surprise the UK lags behind the Scottish Government in regards to CO2 reduction targets. And meanwhile, with the Friends and Allies, the DUP, they've got their cash for ash scandal, which I sincerely hope it's not the rest of us that have now been asked to foot the bill, the £500 million wastage that's happened there. Well said. And the Tories, they're not any better when it comes to this. Large-scale biomass has still been treated as renewable energy and it's been subsidised accordingly. If we're willing to burn carbon, then surely it would make more sense to burn indigenous coal and incorporate that in a carbon capture scheme to eliminate CO2 emissions. Mr Speaker, there's some other simple legislation this Government could actually probably get through this House, and one that could be enacted is protection of cash retentions in the construction industry. This is a problem that's existed for about 50 years, or been known about for about 50 years. It was something I was able to get cross-party support for in a private member's bill. I even get cross-party support from the DUP, so perhaps this really is something that can be brought to the table. Now, if we want to increase productivity and more efficient infrastructure, then that really would be an easy start. Now, needless to say as well, infrastructure was badly lacking in the Queen's speech today. We heard about HS2 again being extended to Crewe, but really need to see more infrastructure investment. Another issue that could be tackled quite easily is Section 75 of the Pension Act, which right now is causing misery and possible bankruptcy for Scottish plumbing companies. These are guys who signed their employees up for a decent pension, but now are at risk of bankruptcy due to hypothetical debts arising from the regulations stemming from multi-employer schemes. There was a consultation held by the Government before the general election, but of course this was then held up, and we now have another new minister who's going to have to look at this and then re-go through the whole process. I think that really sums up the farce of it all. And Mr Speaker, I can't mention pensions without mentioning the WASPI women. This really is our last chance to reverse the 2011 Pension Act. And it's time for those members on the benches opposite who joined the cross-party group, who stood up and spoke in this chamber on behalf of the WASPI women, expressing their concerns. Well, it's time for them to stand up and be counted. When this Government has got a wafer-thin majority, it does not take many of them to join with the people on these benches, and we can get justice for the WASPI women. Well said. I thought it was telling today that the Prime Minister, though, she was still quite happy to talk about the corporation tax giveaway she's going to do. So surely this is what we should be looking at. Not a tax giveaway to the big corporations, but helping the WASPI women that need justice. Now, I bet you the honourable members on the benches opposite really wish the Prime Minister had got on with her day job and not called a general election, because I certainly know a lot of people in my constituency agree wholeheartedly with that sentiment.